We're back to the Simply G radio show on the Simply G Media Network. You can go to simplyg.com to find out information on GJ Reynolds, the playful and powerful warrior, and the Simply G Media Network, to simplygmedia.com, to listen to all the great celebrity interviews and author interviews and much, much more. And I'm so excited to welcome the program my co-host, GJ Reynolds, the founder of Simply G Media. GJ, how are you? And I know you're really excited about our guest today, especially, it's only been only a month since the Winter Olympics, and we have a really big guest.
Right. Well, obviously, I love the Olympics. I love any type of sport, and I love the amount of, effort that goes into being a top, world-class athlete. And obviously, I train like I'm a world-class athlete, and I'm far from it. So I definitely have a major, I don't know what the word is. I'm very happy to see when somebody puts in that amount of work, because I know what the amount of work I put in, and they put in a lot more work, a lot more hours than I do to have the success that they have. And today's guest, she just came from representing the U.S. Olympic team there in Russia, and we'll hear a little bit about her story. But she's a U.S. Olympic skeleton racer. She's a 2012 world champion. She's a two-time World Cup champion, three-time Winter Olympian, and Summer Olympic 2016 hopeful, so we'll hear a little bit about that. She also spent part of her childhood, grew up in northwest Kansas, and obviously I'm a Kansas boy, Louisiana boy, and so anytime someone from my home states are on the show, I'm very excited. So please welcome to the show, Katie Uhlaender. How you doing, Katie?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
We're excited to talk to you, Katie. And I tell you, looking at your background, especially I was watching the Winter Olympics and I was cheering for you, and you were just so close. I'm sure you wish that there was a couple seconds, you were a couple seconds faster, right? That was probably a great experience, but also it was disappointing as well, the outcome, right?
Yeah, it was disappointing, and I wouldn't have needed a couple seconds. I would have settled for 400th of a second.
Yeah.
But I am really proud of my performance. I never gave up. I was really thrown off after my third run. I thought that run I'd laid it down, and for sure I was going to be in third position. And when I saw number 4 there, I was kind of worried. I knew that maybe I had made the wrong equipment choice. And I just really had to dig deep and not think about what I couldn't control. I couldn't change my runners between heats, which are the steels underneath our sleds, just for those of you that don't know. And I just figured I'd go throw down and see what happens. And I think that mentality made it all worth it.
Well, absolutely, and what you were able to do, Katie, in so many ways. I mean, fourth place, but you really represented your country really well. You were received very well at the event, wouldn't you agree? And the coverage of you and everything, and I'm sure that it really gives you that motivation to be a U.S. Olympic athlete, right? It just gives you that to continue to be motivated, to keep on training and everything from the response you got from your fans and everything in Sochi. Wouldn't you agree?
I cannot believe the reception I've gotten once I came home. Being in Russia, I really didn't know. But when I got home, I couldn't believe the amount of kids that came up to me, and just the letters and the messages. I'm still trying to get through my messages on Facebook, and what I keep trying to tell the kids is, they or anyone, they tell me I'm inspiring to them, and I let them know that that's the motivation in being an Olympian, is to inspire and educate people that they can just put everything they have into whatever they do, and they'll create opportunities for themselves. And that in turn inspires me to know that my efforts aren't in vain. I definitely have some self-satisfaction in being successful and getting to compete in the Olympics, but there's nothing like seeing a kid run up to you and be all inspired to conquer their dreams.
Absolutely, Katie. And GJ, you experienced that with your Foundation Mission G when you were in D.C. Isn't that true, G? You saw a lot of that same type of response with the kids when you were interacting with them, right, G?
Well, yeah, I just recently came from an event in Washington, D.C., and with and spend a lot of time with kids, and just to see, and this is just sort of a funny story because I was actually wearing the same jacket that you were wearing and all the Olympians were wearing, and everybody thought I was an Olympian. I said, well, first of all, thanks for thinking I'm an Olympian because I'm 52 years young, and if you think I can be in the Olympics at any sport in the Winter Olympics, God bless you. But, to come up and to see that they were all inspired and say, hey, you're an Olympian. And, obviously I'm not an Olympian. And so, a couple of things here in your story, what you were sharing is, obviously, 0.04 seconds to find, one place. And, then you can second guess everything, what you could have done differently. And I liked how you said, how you handle that, and then also being off in another country, not really understanding, how that's been received, back home. And I'm thinking as like you're one of 4 people in the entire world, one of 4 people. So that's pretty amazing right there. And how many people didn't make the Olympics or sought out to be an Olympian just to be in the Olympics, and you've been able to do it, multiple times, and so that's, I think, a great feat and definitely an honor. And I definitely think, your story and what our show is about is really a lot of times about people who've had struggles and turn those struggles into something that are very inspiring to others. And obviously you see that, and that's part of what this show's about. And so I love to hear those stories, and what's good about what we'll talk more about your story is that you're really looking at doing a different sport in the Summer Olympics. So that's pretty inspiring just to see somebody that was in the Winter Olympics doing all the work that you've done to put into being a world-class skeleton racer to now being a weightlifter. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're planning on doing and what you're training on for the 2016 Olympics?
Well, I was approached a few times about trying Olympic weightlifting, which consists of the snatch, which is a lift that goes straight from the floor overhead, and then the clean and jerk, which you take from the floor to shoulder height, and then from there you do the jerk to take it overhead. And I kind of ruled it out because I remember a weightlifter came up to me and said, hey, you should do weightlifting. And I was like, well, how often are you guys in the weight room? And she said, 6 days a week, twice a day. And I was like, no way, man. I was like, I like going outside. So I don't think it was till after I lost my father and I had a huge failure at my performance at the Vancouver 2010 Games that I decided to do it, and it kind of gave me a renewed sense of purpose, just something else to focus on, and it pushed me mentally to limits I didn't even know I had, which I think is a lot of the reason why I'm still doing it. It's a sport that really requires you to dig deep and never stop believing. The minute you have any hesitation or doubt, you'll lose the weight, or you won't be able to stand up. There's so much mental power that goes into Olympic lifting. It kind of relates to anything you do in life. So I think it's a great sport to help translate the mentality I had at the line in the 2014 Olympics.
Definitely, Katie. And when I'm hearing about trying to be the Olympic athlete in both sports and different things, and you were saying weightlifting and all these different things, your training game plan's a little different as well, being in Kansas, right? Tell us a little bit about that. That's an interesting things that you're going to use in your training for the weightlifting competition that maybe not all the athletes that are going to be in the Summer Games would train like, correct?
Yeah, if I'm going to continue doing skeleton this year, I'm going to have to incorporate sprint sessions. Also, being out in Kansas, I'm working the farm, so I really have to be motivated to manage my time well. And anyone that's been involved with the agriculture world knows that it's all about, managing your time the best way possible. So, I'm beginning to get up at 5 in the morning and starting to work out. I'm at work from 9 until sundown, and if I can get a few hours in the afternoon, I try to go lift. And then, it's just a matter of being motivated to chase your dreams. I have this saying, I was like, are you strong enough to chase your dreams? Because it's something that is not easy. You can easily have doubt creep in. You can come up with excuses. But if you're really motivated to get something done, there's always a way.
Definitely, there's a way, and especially working all day and then training all day, and growing up in a farm. And GJ, again, you grew up in Kansas, and that's the surprise is the world travel that GJ is. But growing up, G, you had some interesting outdoor experiences too, didn't you?
Well, my dad, he's a commercial beekeeper, so that's all part of the agriculture community, and it's very much in line with farming, and obviously it's dependent on farms. So I definitely see that. But, Katie, you talked about, having doubt and questioning that. And, that's one thing that I think happens to a lot of people. My wife and I were talking about this earlier with, some people that we work with, and how doubt can creep in, and how it's so easy to have one little bit of doubt, and how that little bit of doubt can create so much negative impact. And then, but also having that positive, thought can also turn into positive actions. And it's just so it's just a fine line. And obviously in your sport, 0.04 seconds, it can be the difference of winning or losing. And it's just amazing. But, having that doubt. So what have been some of the things that you've been able to do when you've had that doubt, which I think everybody has doubt at certain times? When you've had that doubt in whatever you're doing, how have you been able to rise above that?
Well, I would just have to refer to my most recent competition, the Olympic Games. Before the first night, I was having quite a bit of doubt, actually. I had a concussion the whole season, and I hadn't had some very good performances for this year. So I was starting to freak out. Like, I've only had 14 runs on my sled where I could see because I lost my vision from the concussion. And I called Peekaboo Street, who is an Olympic champion for downhill ski racing. And she basically told me something really simple, and it's that between then and until I finished the race, there was no room for BS in my head. Meaning there's no room for me to think about anything that didn't matter. Whether or not I had done enough, whether or not I was prepared, whether or not I had the right runners on, I had already made those choices and done what I had decided to do up to that point. The only thing left to do was to go to the line and lay it out. And she reminded me that I'm a fighter, and I'm going to go to the line and fight with everything I have. Who cares if it's not enough or if I could have done something different? There's no point in second-guessing yourself. Once you're there, the only thing you can do is throw down what you have. And once you're finished, you can go back and debrief. You can think, okay, what could I have done differently? That doesn't mean second-guess yourself. It means what could you have done differently to make the right decisions or prepare yourself to make the right decisions. There's no point in second-guessing, but there is a point in learning. So I guess that's what I do. I once I get to a certain point, that's it. It's go time.
Yeah, I like that. And I could see why you have a lot of fans, Katie, because you're really inspiring in so many ways, and it's definitely learning from your experiences. And as GJ talks about, the tough times leads us to becoming stronger as people and being able to help others through those hard times and to inspire. So, Katie, I know you have a couple different projects you'd like to speak about, especially coming up very, very soon with the Kansas Farm Bureau, and then also Ag Chat. So tell us a little two of those things that are coming up.
Well, I have been lucky enough to fall in love with the agriculture community. I did not really understand what it was all about. I don't know what DJ's experience is with bees, but every person I've met in the farming ranching industry has been amazing. It taught me a lot about community, working hard, ethics, and to be honest, I have learned a lot more about current events, politics, the economy. This is the people that are far more educated and supportive of each other than I ever imagined. And I'm going to the Kansas Farm Bureau conference to learn even more. I feel like there's so much more from this community I could learn, and also to share my experiences as an Olympian.
That's fantastic, and that'll be on March 29th and 30th. And then also, you're going to be a guest speaker, Ag Chat. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's basically the same thing. Young farmers and ranchers, it's just a great opportunity for people to get together on a social media basis and meet each other live and get to find out different things that can help evolve the community. I think that's the thing that's key to anyone who's successful in what they do, and I think why farmers and ranchers are so awesome. They are constantly trying to find a more efficient way to do things and a more evolved way of doing things, which is really important, especially if we're going to have an increased population in a few years. Farmers are very important and key to the survival of our economy, to feeding the world, and understanding what the best way is to do that. You know, there's a lot of talk with the GMOs and if they're good or if they're bad. And a lot of people think that farmers aren't caring about that, but they are searching for the best way possible to feed a nation and feed the world. And I'm really interested to see what we come up with, because I think they're the best people the world has to offer.
Wow, GJ, I tell you, another great guest for sure, and she's very inspiring, and she's also has a platform to speak about and really trying to look at how important it is to get that word out. Isn't that true, G?
Yes, and I always applaud every celebrity, whether they're an athlete or, you know, whatever their celebrity status is, when they realize they have a platform and, you know, they've been elevated to a platform and they step on that platform and they're stepping on the platform to invoke positive change. And obviously you're doing that. You got a very unique and inspiring personal story, and I don't know if you're in the process of writing a book, but I definitely encourage you to write a book and tell your story, and because I know it has impact with, you know, all types of people, whether they're young kids or from the Midwest and farming communities, or even someone like myself. You know, I read a lot of biographies, and I love to hear an inspiring story, because, you know, that inspires me to go and evoke positive change as well. So I encourage you to do that. I also feel in my spirit you're going to do well in 2016 in the Olympics, and, you know, just keep plugging away. And, you know, we'd love to have you on our show again, and, you know, to give us an update what's happening in your life and on the platform that you're in. And so, you know, you got some new friends. We'll follow you on Twitter and Facebook, and, you know, let us know how we can help you. So where can everyone find more information about you?
Well, my Twitter is Katie Uhlaender, and there's a link on there to my fan page, which is my name. So I would love to have followers and keep you guys updated. I'm really excited to learn more about agriculture and everything that's going on there. So.
All right. Well, best of luck, Katie. I'm really excited about what you're doing, and you're definitely speaking on some great things. And best of luck in the training, and you got to update us on what's going on with 2016. So we'll have to kind of tweet you out at times and say, so what's going on with you, Katie? So thanks again for calling. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Take care. You're listening to the Simply G radio show on the Simply G Media Network, and we'll be back in just a moment.